Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here with Michael Sands. This is the Unbusy podcast show. Now we've changed it from the Outsourced PM podcast show because I know that, Michael, you've been getting phone calls from people outside of property management wanting executive assistants and virtual assistants and so forth. So we wanted to sort of break the mold a bit just in property management, though that's very much what we do. And unbusy, I guess, is a word that really resonates with everybody when it comes to the reason why we need to get a virtual assistant or an executive assistant. And Michael, particularly with executive assistants, you're getting phone calls from bosses. What are they saying? What's going on in these phone calls? What sort of pain are they talking about?
A few of the main points that people are asking when they're calling and we're having our conversations, they're too busy to be able to oversee the team, and the team themselves are saying that they're too busy and they need more help. The business owners, and I'm generalizing here, Darren, but they're almost failing to lead their own team. And that's because they are so busy themselves. They are looking for other solutions to help the team manage their day-to-day tasks and duties. We often talk to business owners and, they say they need someone, and we'll talk about property management as an example. They need someone to help answer the phone or do maintenance or do arrears, do tasks that your property manager would typically do. Of all the conversations I'm having though, Darren, the underlying theme is a lot of these business owners, they need the help themselves. Like, they're talking about how busy they are with everything they're doing, from emails and phone calls, managing the business, being out on the road, and a lot of them are just all over the place. And so what we've found recently, yes, a lot of people need virtual assistants. Yes, virtual assistants are great for the repetitious admin jobs, and they do help your team. But when we're talking to the business owners, executive assistants is exactly what all these business owners need. And I think by having an executive assistant, someone to help the business owner, department head, the boss, that frees up their time to be able to actually help and be beneficial to their day-to-day running of the team. Like, they can then act as the leader that they wanted to be when they had the business.
So Michael, my observation is bosses, certainly the ones that aren't full-time principals, are also outselling as well. The more hours they're spending out there doing what they do, there's a build-up. There's a build-up of emails. There's a build-up of tasks. And they're out there busy doing what they do, but now they're pushing into after hours to get this low productive work done, like answering emails, like playing email ping pong, like having to chase people down to tie them down into an appointment, all of this stuff. And they're getting worn out, they're getting eroded. It's all this extra time is eating into their family time. They're feeling the family problems. They're realizing, their children aren't getting the time that they'd like to give to them. They're seeing the cracks. Maybe their partners are also expressing concern about their long hours. And this is not what they signed up for. When they signed up to be a boss, to start their own business, it was for freedom reasons. And now they're shackled. And this is what we're saying is what an executive assistant is all about. And Michael, I know the solution that Teams by Design has is being able to give people an executive assistant based remotely, so you haven't got all those office desk costs of having a person in, and then also at a third of the cost of what it would be to employ a local executive assistant that has all the skills. And so this is the solution, everyone. And we want you to invite you to have a chat to Michael. But Michael, first, let's go through the 8 essential skills of an executive assistant and what they need to have. And they're different from a virtual assistant. They're like a mini manager. They're a mini you. There's able to do a lot of running around, but let's just go through these 8 skills of competency for an executive assistant. The things that, if you're going to go and employ your own executive assistant, that's great. But these are the same 8 things that they need. Firstly is strong organizational skills. So they have to be really organized. They can't just be a robot. Tell us about what these organizational skills that they really need to have as a core competency.
Yeah, I think too, with being organised, that's something that you're either organised or you're not organised. To be organised is not something that you can really train people efficiently on. Like they either can do or they can't. Being organised, I mean, Darren, you got Bev. I don't think I've met a more organised individual, and you guys go hand in hand together because you're quite organised yourself. Being able to do multiple tasks and to a high level of efficiency, organised, being able to maintain and prioritise tasks in an efficient manner, and making sure that when you have appointments that you're attending those appointments, that you're being on those meetings, that you're taking those phone calls, and you need someone to be able to push you to do that, and having that executive assistant that has a good organizational skills. Gold.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are there to manage you and keep you organized. And there's some people out there, Michael, that are so disorganized to help themselves. I don't know how they survive. And there are some people I know that are so disorganized and have a full-time person to keep them organized.
I mean, don't talk about Dennis while he's not here. But we talk about that. So organization, Dennis and I, yourself, we're always on the go. We're doing something, and appointments pop into our diaries left, right, and center. Having someone like Bev, someone like Chris, that manages our diary and says, "Hey, Michael, you've got an appointment or a meeting in 15 minutes. This is what you spoke about with them last time. These are the actionable tasks that we spoke about and that were completed." So when I'm starting the meeting, I say, "Oh, Darren, great. How did you go with ABC?" Right? Everything's already there. Or having someone say, "Michael, you've got this appointment with Darren. Darren runs a business called Inspired Growth Training. This is what the business is about. This is what they do." And so when I join the meeting, I can hit the ground running. I don't need to say, "Oh, so Darren, what exactly do you do?"
No, yep, fair enough. But Bev certainly keeps us organized. And what I'm going to do, we're going to talk about communication skills next. And what I'm going to do is actually just send a quick message to Bev. She doesn't know this is coming. She probably suspects now that she's being recorded, and she's going to get all, a little bit embarrassed. So everyone, I'm hoping she'll come in and not suspect that she's been recorded. I won't tell her. But if she does work it out, she'll get a little bit embarrassed. But hey, she's a good chat. And I'll just send this message through to her now in our chat that we have. So she's based in Manila, everybody. And I've just sent her that message. She's already seen it. So my system already says this is how organized she is. And this is our executive BDM, Michael, that we met, that you picked up at your real estate virtual assistant event that you held in Manila, where we were inviting potential VAs to come in, and you picked her out of the room. And she's been with us now for 2 years.
How long? 2020, so 3 years now.
Yep. Okay.
3 years.
All right. Here she is.
Now, Bev's been instrumental in everything. Hi, Bev.
Hello. Bev. How you doing? Oh, look at your face. You've already worked it out.
Welcome.
She's all embarrassed because you didn't know she wouldn't be like this. She wouldn't be going red. All right, Bev. So you are on record. And I just wanted to, with your day-to-day, we're talking about 8 skills of an executive assistant. The first one was strong organizational skills. Mm-hmm. So what is, in a nutshell, how do you keep me organized? How do you keep the business organized? What do you do there?
Well, I start my day with writing down things that I need to do today. So according to importance, the very important ones on top, and then according to, and then the least important or not so important at the bottom. And then when it's done, I cross them out. And of course, there are times that something would come up whilst I'm doing something, but you just have to deal with it. In the beginning, I was getting overwhelmed, especially since this is the first time that I'm working as an executive assistant. So yeah, but working with you, Darren, and also with Michael, it has been it's been great.
I'm glad you're still happy, because I'm not an easy person to work for. Sometimes I'm a bit like a train. I don't stop at the stations. I'm on express mode, and I do have high expectations. And Bev, you meet all of them, which is awesome. And so, well, look, thanks for your time, Bev. I just want everyone to meet Bev. Bev is an exceptional example of a really good executive assistant. We just wish we could clone you. But it's not possible. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time, Bev.
You're welcome. See ya.
All right, see you later. All righty, so everyone, we got Bev to talk about organizational skills, but I really wanted to talk about our next skill by bringing Bev in, which is excellent communication skills. So I didn't want her to think that we were singling her out to talk about communication, because you could hear it for yourself. Bev is excellent with her communication skills, and I have got no problem at all in saying, Bev, I need you to call such and such one of my clients. I need you to say this. I need you to bring them into an appointment. I need you to send an email with this. Her written communication skills are awesome. Her verbal communication skills are awesome. And I don't have a problem at all in Bev talking to my clients. And that's the other hang up, Michael, a lot of people have, particularly people from the Philippines, because that's where we are sourcing our executive assistants from. People, I just hope that burst your bubble there, that there's nothing wrong with Bev's level of communication. Her accent's there, but so what? Australia, New Zealand are very multicultural. There's lots and lots of different accents. The UK, Michael, is incredibly multicultural. There are accents everywhere. And I think that Bev and her level of skill is very, very competent.
I think what's important to note there, Darren, too, is when we place an executive with our clients, the clients get to meet them first. So not only do they go through our rigorous recruitment funnel, but you get to meet them. So you get to listen to them also and say, yes, okay, that's great. You get to see exactly what we look for in communication. Communication is important, Darren. When that breaks down, things fail where there's no communication.
The other thing that everyone noticed, you know how quickly I sent her that message. She didn't know it was coming. She instantly responded to it, and in she was. So she has a real sense of urgency as well. And that's very, very important around getting this person on board. Getting the right executive assistant is able to work very quickly in sync with your needs and anticipates your needs in advance. This is what a good executive assistant does, as opposed to a virtual assistant, which works completely differently and they're on a different level. These are the people that the quality you can get, and at a third of the price. You can go and get yourself a local person, and you can put a desk in your office. You can pay all those desk costs of internet and computers and all of that extra and superannuation and all of those things that will just cost a lot of money, and then pay a very, very solid wage. In this day and age of executive assistants will be paid far better than any property manager any day. They're really a mini manager. Or you can get a really competent one with all of these competencies and skills at a third of the cost. That's our approximation. All righty. So, Michael, is anything more you want to say on communication skills before we move on to the next one?
No, but what I do think is we should use Bev as the example. As we go through our points, let's use Bev as the example, because people now have met Bev, they've heard her, they've heard some of the organizational tasks that she does for you. So let's use her as a reference example.
Yeah. Now you're going back to Manila and tomorrow you're flying in, Michael, and you're meeting with the team, you're meeting with leadership. And I know that you're going to be planning another real estate event to bring in people. I think it's on your next trip. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Darren, we actually got the IGT leadership retreat, which is in Boracay in May. And the week before that, we're running the real estate virtual assistant again, that conference where, we get a number of people into the room. We go through training, expectations of what we want for Australian and UK and New Zealand real estate agents. But this time, this Reva, we're actually inviting our guests who are attending the leadership retreat.
Okay. So Darren, if you want to attend the leadership retreat or have information, it's by application only. No applications will be submitted to Michael. If you can just email Bev, Bev REA at office@igtmail.com. That's office@IGT for Inspired Growth Training, office@igtmail.com. Ask Bev for the leadership retreat link for application. And then Mike will be in touch, all right, to talk to you about that. And you'll be able to see the real estate event in itself. You'll be able to meet the executive assistants if there's something that's interests you. But anyway, let's move on. So the third skill that people need to have is attention to detail, Michael. So I know I can answer that, but I want you to answer that. Why is this so important? I know it sounds a stupid question, but why is it so important?
Because it's a representation of you. So Darren, if someone is sending emails or they're sending letters or they're doing video recordings or anything and they miss something, they don't attach a document, they have incorrect spelling. We send out a lot of sales proposals. Imagine if we had the decimal in the wrong place. Your $1 million training went for $100,000. Yeah. It's really important that whoever your executive is, that they can kind of catch you when you fall. Bev, we have proofread articles and chapters of books that, Darren, you produce and you get out there. So trusting your EA at that level to be able to read your emails, your books, your articles, so you can put it out to our market at the quality that it goes out is impeccable. I mean, like, she picks up several things that we all miss.
Well, Bev proofreads my stuff. So guys, when you see an email come out, it's got all my writing on there. I promise you, when I'm banging out so much stuff so fast, I'm making mistakes like you wouldn't believe, always making mistakes. And sometimes you can see stuff that hasn't been proofed. I've got dumb mistakes that I didn't pick up because I just don't see them. I don't see my own mistakes until 1 or 2 days after I come back with fresh eyes. But Bev does my proofreading on my articles. So I can send her a quick email by chat, just like I did before, with a link to this chat. And I say, Bev, please proofread email this title, bang, she's in. She proofreads it 5 minutes back. Yeah, all good. Thank you, bang. And I know it's ready to go. And her attention to detail is awesome. And these are the typical skills that you can get with the right selected executive assistant. All right. And again, the Philippines is a great place to find them. And they are different on the next level up from a virtual assistant. But when they're based remotely as well, you don't have to have that desk and a car park for them and all of those things in your office. They're simply an internet connection away. And so they're based remotely. You haven't got all those office and desk costs to have them stationed in your office. And you haven't got this massive salary that you're going to have to pay right now to get your amazing super person working for you. They're really hard to find in this climate, certainly in the Australian job climate.
Very difficult. Like, I mean, we see recruiters talking about how on LinkedIn they're struggling, and fresh people asking for, green people with no experience, asking for what a 10-year experienced property manager or department head would be asking for.
I would think a good executive assistant in Australia, what do you think their commanding salary would be if you want to get a good one?
Well, we saw it's between like $80,000 to $120,000.
They would be asking 100, I would have thought.
Plus. It's like it is insane. And that's why, yes, we place virtual assistants with numerous clients around the globe. But we totally missed it. We were diagnosing the wrong problem, which was business owners needed an executive assistant to free them up so they could run their business.
And I think it's a great idea, Michael, for them to get themselves an executive assistant based locally to come in, and you go, but Darren, there's a problem, and it's the cost. And so your hamster wheel of burden continues, and the ball and chain on your leg continues and causes you pain, and you get eroded heart, mind, and soul. Excuse me. So that's the solution you can have as an executive assistant on that level at a third of the cost. And you heard Bev before. Let's move on. So flexibility. Tell us about the importance of the skill of flexibility, Michael.
this is broad, but like I guess being flexible as an executive assistant means that your EA needs to be able to adjust what their priorities are throughout the day. So you heard Bev say that she's got her urgent and her non-urgent, and that may be, she may have things on Monday through Friday that she has planned to do, but there might be meetings, there might be events, there might be urgent calls or things that need to be dealt with right now. Having the ability to stop doing something, a particular task, start on the urgent or the task that has popped up that needs to be done, and then be able to come back to the other task and continue doing that work through to completion. It's really being able to adapt with the changes of the business and not be stuck with blinkers on, unable to pivot.
And pivot without getting flustered, because Bev's very good at that. She dropped everything, came straight in, and that's the normal. I know, unless she sends me a text every day at about 2 o'clock my time, which is 12, 11:30, 12 o'clock Manila time at lunch. And then she'll say it back every day without fail, day in, day out. I know exactly when I can talk to her and when I can't. And it's just so predictable. So I know I can rely on her to come in when I need her to. Very rarely is she not able to because she's caught up doing something else. It really works. And flexibility too. She works our public holidays, not Manila public holidays. So that's even the flexibility is there again. And she works to my time zone, not to her time zone. There's a flexibility again. So I know she's up early, 6:30 start, but she finishes earlier in the afternoon. And she logs on a certain time. Hi, Darren, every day. She logs off. Logging off now, Darren. Goodbye. She sends us a report from what she's done for the day, like clockwork.
I think one of the things that Bev really appreciates too, since coming on to Teams by Design, was that also the flexibility with her life. Like you're saying, yeah, she starts early, she finishes early, but working from home, she's highly efficient. And when she clocks off, she can spend time with her family, which is like her number one value. She's got church, she's got family. She has a social life outside of work. So having someone that has that work, that really, really, really healthy, Darren, work-life balance, like we're talking super healthy. Like she finishes work, she's doing family stuff.
And I know when she's at work, she's told me she's thinking nothing else except her tasks. She's so focused, and I can see it because she's got, to me, she doesn't make errors. Now, I'm sure they do happen, but I don't pick them up. I can trust her. She's so reliable, and because she's so focused on not making mistakes, she gets it done the first time, and I don't need to go back to it to get her to correct anything. So that's another quality. And Bev does fit the mold of a really, really good, or the perfect, if you want to call it, executive assistant. And Michael, your job is to go and place and source more of those. And you've got a great machine in place to recruit them, bring them in. Having said that, you just showed me the Executive Assistant Academy that you've created, where they'll be trained through that and trained to the skill levels and the competencies and the tasks that a typical executive assistant will be doing. And well done on that. But let's move on. So next one, time management skills. What can I say? It's all part of the role, isn't it? They've got to be really good and understand what good time management is about.
It is too. And like, our team will work from home. So if someone was working in an office, they'd have to, get up in the morning, an hour before they leave, spend 2 hours traveling to work, attend work, and then 2 hours back. And, all this time is lost. When they work from home, they know that, let's say they're starting at 9 o'clock, like our time, let's say, you can see when they're online. They're online about 15 minutes before, because they don't have all this other travel time, the fluster time. Making sure that they go through the diary, and Darren, like, these EAs have got better time management than I do, and I used to have really good time management until I met Dennis, and then it kind of went out the window because you're on Dennis time. But they need to manage their time, right, and manage our time. And like, we might send 20 tasks that we want done during the day. They need to work out the priority of each task, when they're going to do it, what has to be done today, what can be put off to tomorrow. And the cog is always moving, because
you guys have a baseball approach to tasking. You throw it, all right, and you hope that somebody catches it. And that person, that executive assistant, needs to be able to catch the task. So you might drop it into a chat, drop it into a conversation, drop it into a phone call or whatever. You guys, I use a tasking system, but you guys, in a lot of cases, you pitch the ball, and your hope is someone's just going to grab it. You're going to pitch it anyway, whether they're ready or not. They grab it, and a good person's got to grab that task, put it straight into their tasking system, so not one thing is dropped, lost, missed, or overlooked.
Yeah, I feel for Chris. As you know, like we're training a new EA at the moment, and we're going through all these skill setting and appointment setting and making sure that, you know, the mold is to what Dennis and I want and need. And yeah, very much it's deep end.
It is. And next one, confidentiality. Oh my goodness me. If people are exposed and looking at your emails and dealing with your calls, or, you know, they're going to come across stuff from time to time, like dealing with a difficult situation with a staff member. You know, Michael, over to you on that one.
Yeah, this covers a whole broad range of topics when you're under that confidentiality. Like me, my EA has my credit card details, my Medibank, Medicare details, my passport details, my home address. Like basically they have access to the keys to the house, right? I have full trust, full confidentiality, because they know that they can't repeat any of that to absolutely anybody. When we recruit, we look for certain characteristics in people, and yeah, people can go in funny directions when they're put under stress. You know, you see that with property managers and people like burning bridges. We've had immaculate success with confidentiality, and each team member at any level keeping everything confidential, all the information they learn. And people say, well, you know, what are they doing application processing as a VA task, and they have confidential details? And I say, what are they going to do with that? Like, what can they actually do with it? It's not like someone's hacked in, like, you know, there are other outsourcing providers out there that did have a data breach on their database, like a huge privacy breach on their database. We don't have that problem like other outsourcing agencies have had. We have confidentiality, we have strict NDAs, and we nurture a team-based environment. You know, all of our team know that they can approach me, they can approach you, they can approach Dennis, they can approach anyone within the organization, and there's trust. Confidentiality, they handle all this sensitive information, your information, Darren. Like, our team know everything about us. And if you have an EA, to anyone listening to this, if you have an EA, you need to have that level of trust. And yes, it may take some time for you to be able to feel confident to hand that over. But again, like, what are they going to do with the information that they've got? I can cancel credit cards. I can change anything very fast with my bank. I can disapprove any transactions that occur on cards. But I've never, ever had that problem, because we have a certain caliber of person.
Yep. Alrighty, moving on. Problem-solving skills. That's number 7. Problem-solving skills. It's a high level of initiative, right? And we do see that with some virtual assistants that simply just follow step 1, step 2, step 3, and they don't think outside of that. So our executive assistant needs to be on another level, right? With their problem-solving skills. Sometimes
it's like a superhero that hasn't developed their powers yet, and because they've been in an environment that hasn't allowed them to think outside the box. You know, like in the Philippines, largely it's process driven. They don't allow people to really think for themselves in a lot of their BPO industries. And when you think about offshoring or outsourcing, some people think, well, no one can problem solve. But, you know, we've all seen those movies where there are superheroes that haven't developed their powers yet, but it's within them. And we challenge our team. Like, what would you do? Before you ask me for an answer, what would you do in this instance? And we get them thinking about how would they take on this problem? Because more often than not, they're going to be right. And if they're not right, then it's an excellent learning experience for them, where you can let them know what you would do.
Yeah.
But you've got Google, you've got all these resources in front of you that they have access to allow them to help problem solve. Now, TBD, we have a large family-like team. So our team know that if they're stuck on something, they can tap into every other team member who is experienced in real estate, you know, across Australia, across New Zealand, the UK. And they have an excellent resource there before they have to ask me the question. I mean, you're really lucky. You may as well bring Beth back in and ask her a problem, and she would solve it. But what I love about Bev is, if you ask her a question, she's ringing people to find out an answer. Like, she's digging to find out how to solve the problem, and then she reports back to you that she solved it.
She also respects our time. So she knows I'm smash busy with my time. You're smash busy. She'll go and do that and not rely on your brain power and your brain's trust to come up with it. She'll go and do that, watch a video or whatever. So it's really valuable that they're able to autonomously manage themselves to problem solving instead of having to rely on you. And obviously there's going to be a level of interaction there, but this is a level and depth of what an executive assistant needs to be. And they need to be able to solve their own problems and come up with their own solutions. And very quickly moving on, the team knows that there are times where they ask me, Darren, I need a solution on this. And I turn around and say, why do you want my brain for when you can work it out for yourself? Remember, if I'm in a plane 30,000 feet up over the ocean, flying to America, and I'm out of action and you've got a problem, how are you going to solve it? We have a very simple statement. It's WWDD. What would Darren do? And they go, yeah. All right, Darren, WWDD. Okay, I'll apply that now. Yes. So you don't need to use my brain, do you? No. Okay, that's fine. So go and make the decision and go for it. And so this is, you want to be able to trust your executive assistant to make decisions without having to come to you to be spoon-fed solutions. They've got to be able to come up with them themselves. And this is why executive assistants in Australia or New Zealand or UK based locally cost so much, because they are managers in themselves. And they are team leaders and all of those sort of people. They're a high level of function.
I remember when I would travel and I would get on a plane and there was no internet on there, and I got off the plane when I was, I would have anxiety. What emails have I got? Who's trying to reach me? Who's calling me? Well, I would have that anxiety, and then I was going to be smashed with emails when I land, and then only I could do it. But now I get on a plane, whilst I have a habit of checking my phone, I know that when I get off, all my emails are responded to, the problems are taken care of. And, I'm the one who goes and says, oh, what did we do with this? Well, what about that? And that's Michael, it's done. It's done. It's done. Here's what I've done for the day.
So everyone understand, you're out there driving around, doing your appointments, doing your stuff, and there's all that build up going on in the background with those emails you have to do, all those phone calls you have to do. Imagine getting to the end of your day and now all that stuff's being done for you. That's gold, everybody. That's what an executive assistant is there to do, is to support you through all of that weedy stuff. So you're not get caught up in the weeds. You're not stuck on the hamster wheel. You're not stuck burning your family time and burning you out and making you disillusioned for the fact that this is the burden of you being a boss. Guys, executive assistant, this is what they do. You've just got to get the right person. So last one, they've got to be tech savvy. The eighth attribute or ingredient that they need or skill, they've got to be tech savvy. Like I just text Bev before using our chat, our text chat. But they obviously need to understand Gmail, they need to understand emails, they need to, what are all the typical things that is a minimal expectation?
Being able to turn your computer on and off is probably the minimum. But Dan, we're dealing with a workforce that live in a computer-based society, right? Every person that we deal with that is looking for work has experience on either Apple or PC, but our preference is we do everything on PC. Being able to use general software like Google G Suite, Microsoft applications, all that. That's at a minimum. But if someone comes to us and they really haven't had that much experience with it, we have training courses around every type of tech application they could possibly use. Bev, again, as an example, she's FaceTiming me when she goes to call me and ask me questions when you're trying to chase me for something. Bev is now FaceTiming me, right? Like she's using the technology that's available to her right in front. She's not Zooming me. She's not workplace chatting me. She's not Slacking me. She's FaceTiming me. So people that are responsive and adaptive to different CRMs, because we all know real estate is fundamentally the same, but a lot of offices have different software. That's fine. They pick it up within like a week or a matter of days. A lot of them have that understanding, that cognitive ability. Being able to use iPhones. Well, I had VAs and EAs doing the virtual tours for me, right? They were stitching together virtual tours. And, you know, I mean, yeah, okay, there are some that have an Android. There are some that have an Android, and that makes it a little bit hard. And we try not to hold that against anybody else out there that has an Android phone. You know, I know they're attempting to be tech savvy, but, you know, those that have the iPhone, we know that they are thoroughly tech savvy.
All right, well, let's wrap this up, Michael. Really good podcast. And everyone, Michael, well, we've actually just got a really easy way to get in contact with Michael. It's just go to unbusychat.com. That books straight into his diary. It's a link straight in, so you can then find out a time, have a chat with Michael. And more importantly, if there's questions we haven't answered or you're worried about data breaches or security or privacy or all that stuff, Michael is able to help you with any of those big rock questions that you have. But again, an executive assistant is going to free you up. You're going to be able to take that balling chain off your leg. You're able to come back at the end of the day knowing all this stuff is going to give you so much peace of mind. You're going to sleep better at night. Your family's going to love you more because you're not caught up using their time doing stupid stuff like emails and all of that and getting caught up in those weedy tasks. And you feel like you're getting exhausted on that hamster wheel. So reach out to Michael, unbusychat.com, and have a chat to Michael about executive assistants and who you've got in the wings as well, Michael, with the recruitment and who you've got ready.
Can't wait to have some more conversations with people, Darren. As you know, we live and breathe it. So
cool. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast show.
bye.